Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Coach RT3. Welcome to your daily mobility routine. We're going to first start out by saying I have one rule. If you start feeling any pinchiness as you go into one direction or another, any sharp pains, things like that, I want you to back off and find out where you can make the motion without triggering that. Okay? You get one chance to go through that and have that feeling per day, and that's it. Any other time that you're going to be doing this activity and you feel that pinchiness, we're going to go around that, and then from there you should make sure if that continues or that becomes some sort of perpetual thing that continues to happen, seek some professional advice. All right, from there we're going to start and we're going to work our way from top down. So we're going to start with clenching our quads, pushing the floor apart with our feet just a little bit, squeeze the glutes. Sniff some air into the abdomen, lock that down, pull the shoulder blades back. We're going to create some tension and squeeze our biceps, triceps, create a little fist there, okay? If you had a scale of 0 to 100, I would want you to be at like 20% effort right now. So the purpose of that is to try to minimize movement below our neck. So we're going to start out by bringing our chin down to our chest. Once you reach your end point here, that may be at the chest or it may be slightly above it, depending on what your range of motion and mobility is like. We're going to begin to draw a semicircle over to the left collarbone. You're going to drop the ear back behind the head. Take the chin across the ceiling, drawing a semicircle across the ceiling until you reach the other side. Once you reach the other side, or the right side, you're going to begin to draw that semicircle back to center. We're going to pass through for another rep. Drop the head back behind the ear, back behind the head, behind the shoulder, semicircle with the chin, over to the other side, semicircle back to center. We're going to pause right there. We're going to begin our semicircle back the other direction. End point, drop the ear back behind the shoulder. Take the chin across the ceiling to the opposite side. We're going to continue this at about 1 mile per hour. So you're just going to take a nice even pace. Pay particular attention to any areas you tend to want to speed through, those areas of discomfort. Spend a little bit more time in those areas as you pass through. Okay, now we're going to work our way to our scapulas. Okay, we're going to bring the palms down at the side. Generally, we usually have a seam going up the side of our pants, but if you don't, just imagine you had one. You're going to keep that middle finger right on the seam. Okay, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to sniff some air into the abdomen. Do that same process, driving the feet apart gently, about 20% effort. We're going to straighten out the arms. And we're going to start by elevating, and then we'll retract. What retraction means is pulling the shoulder blades back. Our goal is to make sure that we don't bend here at the elbow. So we're going to keep those elbows nice and straight and keep those middle fingers fairly close to the line of your seam. We're going to depress the scapula, which means bring it down, and then we're going to protract, bring it forward. Okay? From there, we're going to go back up into elevation. We're going to retract, pulling back, depress, and protract going forward. We're going to smooth that out as much as we can. Objective is to make sure our palm doesn't end up in front of our thighs or behind our thighs. We want to keep that nice position along the side of our legs and move through that motion gently. Freeze. We're going to go back into retraction, elevate, protract, depress, retract, elevate, protract, depress, and we'll pass through again one more time, making it nice and smooth as we move through that motion. All right, now that we've got those done, we're going to just work our way down the extremities. So we're going to go elbow next. So our elbows are meant to both flex and they have a bit of rotation. So pronation, supination. Okay, so we're going to start in kind of like this service position. Our palms are facing up towards the ceiling. We're going to extend down so that our palms are facing you. We're going to imagine we have some laser beams right there in the center of the bicep that are pointing at the wall in front of us. And from there, we don't want those laser beams to turn any other direction, because I'll be asking for shoulder stuff and not elbow stuff. So what we're going to do here is we're going to flex like we're doing a bicep curl. Okay, once we're at the top there, we're going to continue to try to squeeze a little bit more rotation out of that. And then we're going to pronate so that our palms are facing away. We're going to press down into extension, continuing to try to squeeze a little bit more rotation out of that. Once we reach the bottom, we're going to rotate again, supinate. We're going to flex those biceps again, squeezing as much rotation as we can out of it. We're going to imagine our middle fingers on a rotisserie, and we're going to rotate. Palms are facing each other now. And we're going to extend downward again. Now we're going to keep that extended position, and we're going to bring the palms up again, maximally trying to squeeze as much as you can out of that. Rotisserie, extend, rotisserie, okay? Now that we've done our elbows, we're going to work our way to the wrists. So we're going to get into this position here. We're going to imagine that we've got something that's very precious sitting on our forearm, something we don't want to drop. So what tends to happen is when we ask for wrist stuff, we actually get elbow stuff, and we want to resist that. So your favorite drink, your favorite item, whatever that may be, is sitting on both forearms. We're going to take the pinkies and we're going to bring those pinkies inward towards one another. We're going to extend to show the palms. We're going to bring those pinkies away from each other. Bring the palms up to face ourselves. Pinkies back in towards one another. Palms down to face each other. And freeze. We're going to go back the other direction. Palms face each other. Pinkies in. Palms face ourselves. Pinkies go apart. Palms face each other. Pinkies in. And palms back to face ourselves. All right, so now we're done with the wrist. Now we're going to go to our shoulder. So our shoulder is a big rotator. We have a lot of degree of freedom there, or we should have a lot of degrees of freedom there to be able to reach in a big global movement. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to express the largest, safest effort that we can with our shoulder. Once again, remembering that if you feel any pinchiness or any pains, things like that, I want you to go around that spot. Okay, continue to do the motion, but go around the spot that triggers any sort of discomfort. And we'll just continue to work on the area, your greatest, safest effort, and the biggest movement that you have available to you. All right, so we're going to start with our palms facing each other. And we're going to bring that arm across the body, trying to squeeze as much external rotation out. When we hit that end point, which is usually about here for most people, we're going to continue upward. As you continue upward, your arm begins to go into internal rotation. As we move into flexion, you hit another roadblock. At that roadblock, you're going to imagine you have a big X on your bicep right next to your ear. You're going to take that X and you're going to turn that X away from you, and then you're going to continue to extend and reach behind you. Searching for the wall behind you. Keep searching for the wall as you continue to internally rotate. Continuing to take that arm behind you. Remember your greatest, safest effort, and you're bringing the back of your hand next to your thigh with your pinky facing forward. From there, what we're going to do is we're going to extend back. You'll hit a roadblock again. From there, we're going to imagine that X on the bicep again. We're going to externally rotate until that X is facing away from us. We're going to continue to sweep the arm up overhead until that X is right next to our ear. We're going to bring that arm across the body again, kind of like a karate chop. And then bring the arm down next to our body again, ending an external rotation. So a couple key points here that I want to point out to you. We're trying to make sure that all the rest of our body stays movement free, or as movement free as possible. Remember, we're only working at 20%, so there's going to be some degree of movement of the torso, but we want to make sure that we lock everything from here down, up, and try to keep our spine from rotating as we search for more rotation from the shoulder. Remember, if the spine is rotating, that's not the shoulder. We want to speak to our shoulder as much as possible and find out how much room that shoulder has to move in life without the help and assistance of other aspects of the body. We're going to integrate the body in all the daily things that we do, but we want to find out in these moments, how much does your actual joint have degrees-wise for freedom. So we're going to take our left shoulder now, and I'm going to show you this from the side so that you can see what's going on from this direction. So from here, our palm, once again, is facing forward or externally rotated, so it might be actually facing out at an angle. And here we're going to searching for more external rotation. And then as we end up coming upward, we're moving into internal rotation. That big X now needs to face away from us. Remember, we're trying not to side bend away from that. We want to stay nice and straight. So if you begin to side bend and you can't control that, then make the circle a little bit smaller. There's nothing wrong with that. Remember, we're only moving through the motion that you have available to you. Everybody's body is different. Everyone has different degrees of freedom currently. And our goal is to make those things better. And we're chopping across and bringing the arm back down to the side. All right, now we'll move to the spine. So we'll take our hands across the chest. We're going to bring our chin to the chest. From there, we're going to flex the rest of our spine. So we'll flex, bringing the elbows down into our ribs. Once we hit that end point, there's an end point of how much flexion you have in your spine before you end up moving at the hips. We're going to stop at that point. Okay, let me show you that from the side. So we're flexing, 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 as much flexion as you can. Stop at that point. Otherwise, this becomes hip motion. So we're stopping here. And then we're going to twist. Then we're going to imagine our shoulder is a little teapot. We're going to spill some water out of that shoulder as we laterally flex. And we're going to extend, segmenting, trying to squeeze as much extension out as we can as we rotate over into the other side. And we bring the elbow down into the rib cage. From there, we tilt up and we rotate in, pass through, tilt, extend, elbow down into the rib cage, tilt, rotate back to center, freeze. Let's go back the other direction. So we're twisting, tilting, extending, all the way over to the other side, elbows into the rib cage, tilt, rotate, pass through till you hit the end of rotation, spilling out of the shoulder, extend, over to the other side, pulling the elbow down into the rib cage, tilt up, rotate back to center. All right, excellent. So now we get to work on our lower half, which is going to be fun. Starting with the hips, which nobody likes, but that's great. Everybody needs better hips. So our hips are another big mover of the body. We have the shoulders, which are a major global mover. The spine gives you various degrees of freedom, and the hips give you lots of freedom of movement. Once those things stop moving or you stop going into ranges, that's when the body starts to lack the ability to do the things that you enjoy. So making sure that we keep those things active and we explore the ranges available to us on a regular basis is going to be very important to your longevity. So we're going to start by getting something that we can use as a base of support. I'm going to use this foam roller here just to stabilize myself on this side as I'm going to be moving this hip here, my left hip. So we're going to start out by just kind of creating that same tension through the body, create a little fist, and I want to bring the arm up away from the body because our hip is going to end up rotating, passing through this area, and we want to create space. If we're down here, we're going to end up having to move. So bring the arm up just a bit, create some tension, use this base of support, drive that down, and we're going to bring the leg forward first. We're going to bring the foot across the body like we're hacky sacking. We're going to keep closing that angle, and we're going to keep driving that hacky sack up, trying to search for more external rotation. Once we've reached as much external rotation and hip flexion as we can, we're going to begin to open that door. Open that door as far as you can. We're going to then internal rotate, kicking the heel up towards the ceiling, drawing a circle with the knee around to join the other knee. From there, we're going to extend back. Abduct, so that's away from the body. Begin external rotation. Continuing to externally rotate until we get into that hacky sack position. And then we're going to sweep the leg down and bring it back to the floor. All right, let's see that from the side. So from the side, from the front, what we want to make sure of is that we're not really tilting side to side. Sometimes it's challenging when you have an unstable base of support. So I like to use the wall most of the time, but if you don't have a wall with space, using a foam roller or using some other device, a stick, a dowel, things like that may be supportive. So from the side, what we're going to do is we're going to begin, once again, bringing that arm out to the side, bring the leg forward, and then across, scooping the foot upward, squeezing out as much external rotation as you can, as well as flexion. Then you're going to begin to internally rotate as you come out and abduct. You're going to come out as far as you can without rotating through the torso. Once you hit that end point, sometimes you may need to drop this knee down depending on how much internal rotation you have available to you. Otherwise, you're going to couple it and get it from the low back. So I'm going to drop the knee down, then begin my internal rotation. Bring the knee around to meet the other. Extend. Abduct, so that's away from the midline. Externally rotate as you go into flexion. Continue to externally rotate. Cross the body. And bringing the leg back down. Okay? Excellent. Next up, we're going to work our knee, our ankle, and then our toe. So for the knee, what we want to do is we want to move the tibia. So there's a couple of things that I want you to know about your knee joint. Your knee joint not only flexes and extends, but your knee joint also has some degree of rotation. Now, a lot of people don't necessarily realize that, and a lot of people's knees have a hard time rotating. But the body is a use it or lose it thing, so if you don't use it, you tend to lose access to it. So we want to create more connection between your brain and your stuff, and so this is one great way of doing it. So we're going to sit here. We're going to first find that big ridge right there on the tibia, that big part of the bone. We're going to look at if you can actually, using the heel towards you, see if you can actually move the knee from side to side. Now, if you're having trouble doing that, you can take your hands and kind of gently see if you can assist the movement. Okay, and so that might be where you start. It's totally fine. Start by working on trying to find rotation of the knee. Okay, you can grab your hands here, find those big strings there, those are your hamstrings. Put your hands inside of that and feel there. See what that feels like once you have got the knee to start moving. And you can feel that stuff back there kind of moving into your fingertips and out of your fingertips. Okay, so now you know what stuff you need to be able to utilize in order to create this rotation effectively. So what we're going to do is I'm going to lock my knee into place, or I'm going to lock my femur into place so that I can access just the knee stuff. So I'm going to rotate the knee, lifting the heel off the floor, rotate, extend, rotate, and down. Extend, rotate, down, extend, rotate, down. Let's rotate again. Extend, rotate at the top, down, keep that position, extend, rotate at the top, and down. Okay? We're going to do the same thing with the other side. So once again, play around with the knee, find out whether you can actually access it. Remember, just because it happened on one side doesn't mean you have access to it on the other side. So depending on your body, check it out. See if it works properly before moving on. Check the stuff behind the knee. Feel that stuff moving around. See if you can access that. And then go ahead and lock the leg into place. Rotate, extend, rotate, down. Extend, rotate, down. Extend, rotate, down. Now we're going to rotate at the bottom. Rotate, extend, down. Rotate, extend, down. Rotate, extend, down. Good. All right. So next up, we've got the patella. So sometimes we do the patella standing, but I also like to do the patella while seated. Some people feel kind of queasy about the patella. That's the bone here that is actually a part of your connective tissue that continues from your quad over the knee joint, and the connective tissue ends up right there on the top of the tibia. So that big bone there is kind of a rectangular shape in most humans. We just want to find out, does it move up and down? Does it move side to side? So you're going to take your fingers, kind of grab a hold of it, and gently kind of move it from side to side, move it forward and back. Now, it's important to note that your quads have to be very, very lax for it to even move. If you're really tensing and you're really tight in the quads, that patella is not going to move at all. So you've got to spend some time kind of jiggling the quads, let the quads relax. Relax yourself, okay? Because oftentimes just moving that around can make some people, at least with a few of my clients, tend to feel a little bit queasy about it. And I'm like, it's just your body. Your body's supposed to be able to move like this. But, you know, sometimes this can be a little bit funny for people. So just move it around a little bit. Find out if there's any sticky points. Spend a little bit more time in those sticky points. We're going to do the other side here. So get the quads to relax, and then we'll just move this guy around. So you can either use your foot to prop it up, or you can just go completely flat and fully extend it here. That usually works out a lot better in my experience. Okay, so moving it around side to side, forward, backward, little circles, just getting it a little bit more freedom there to move. All right, so next up, the ankle. If I'm seated, I like to take the calf, prop it on top of the other foot, and then I work the ankle. So we point the toe, then we scoop inward, point the toe towards your face, scoop outward, point the toe away, scoop in, freeze. Sweep out, point the toe towards you, sweep in, point away. Okay, same thing the other side. Prop the ankle up, or prop the calf so that the ankle's free to move. And we're going to point, scoop in, point the toe towards you, out, point away, sweep across, freeze, sweep back out, bring it towards your face, sweep in, and point away from you. Another way you can work on the patella or the knee and ankle standing is just going to one foot, rotating at the knee, extend or flex, rotate, extend. Flex, rotate, extend, flex, rotate, extend. Same thing with the patella. Once again, bringing the leg that you want to engage in the front, loosening up the quad, and then you can just move the patella around. So if you're not in a place where you can sit down, these are effective ways for you to still get these movements in. And then with the ankle, you're just straightening the leg, point the toe, sweep in, point the toe towards you, sweep out, point away, sweep across, point towards you, sweep across, point away. Finally, we've got the toes. Now, the toes are important to move around as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to lift the toes off the floor, all of them, and then we're going to spread them apart as much as we can. So looking for that toe spread as much as you can, and then from there we're going to bring the pinky down, the next toe down, next toe, and then finally the big toe. Let's lift them all up again, spread them nice and wide, same thing. Now we're just going to lift the big toes and down, lift the big toes and down, lift the other toes without the big toe, down, lift the other toes without the big toe, and down. Okay, lift all the toes, put the big toe down, lift the big toe down, lift the big toe, and then bring them all down. Okay, give a play around with that a little bit, and make sure those toes are functioning and working as they were designed. I hope you enjoyed the daily routine. Integrate that into your life. It should just help you become more aware of your body on a daily basis and just give you some feedback and information about how you're moving and how you're feeling on that day. If you're not on my email list, be sure to sign up. Let me know if you have any questions. You can write your questions, comments below in the comments. Thanks for watching.